Okay, this is a continuation from the previous video. So now we are going to configure router 2. We're gonna configure interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0 is referred to this IP address 192.168.1.3 255.255.255.0. This gigabit Ethernet 0/0 is facing toward the internal network, and then the next one we're going to configure, let me see here, gigabit Ethernet 0/1. The IP address is 192.168.3.1. that one is facing toward the edge routers. Okay, and then what else here? If we scroll down, okay, then you need to set up the routing protocol. Okay, you need to set up the routing protocol OSPF, network 192.168.1.0, wildcard mask 0.0.0.0.255 area 0. As I mentioned to you earlier, this means that would match any interface with the first 3 octet. Anything that would match with the first 3 octet. Network 192.168.1. Okay. The next one is network 192.168.3.0, wildcard mask 0.0.0.0.255 area 0, which is in the same area, and anything that would match any interface with the first 3 octet, which is 192.168.3. okay, that can be the IP address of 3.1, 3.2, 3.5 until 3.255. Okay, the next one, this is what is important, interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0, that refer to the virtual IP address of this one. Remember, R2 is the standby router. Okay, standby IP 192.168.1.1. This is the virtual router IP address. Okay, now on the edge router, how are we going to configure the edge routers? Alright, for the edge router, first of all, we need to configure the interface loopback. We're gonna put an IP address 209.168.200.9 255.255.255.252, okay, or /30. What does it mean? That this is called a virtual IP address that is always available for management purpose, so that the network administrator or system administrator can always access to the appliances in case some of the interface down. Alright, so if one of the interface down, or system admin also can use this loopback address for monitoring purposes. Alright, the interface gigabit Ethernet 0/0, this one is referred to, where is that, 192.168.2.2 255.255.255, that refer to this one, edge router, gigabit Ethernet 0/0 facing toward the R1. Okay, and then we need to configure the other one is 0/1 is 3.2 IP address is facing to R2, that's for the internal IP address. Okay, the serial interface, let's find out the serial interface, the one that facing toward the ISP, which is the internet service provider, is IP address 209.168.200.13. okay, 255.255.255.52 or /30. okay, let me see what else here. Alright, and then we need to set up the routing protocol. Okay, one is for this network 2.0 network, for 3.0 network, and the other one is for this one, for the serial interface network. Alright, we need to set up the default route, which is IP route 0.0.0 0.0.0.0 serial 0/0/0. That means to send out anything that it does not know about out of serial 0010/0/0/0. So if this router receives an IP address that doesn't know all about, it will go to this one, which is the serial 0/0/0. So I think this is the summary of hot standby routing protocol. Remember, this is not a routing protocol, it is a redundancy routing protocol, which is a Cisco proprietary. There is another one that is more open source. It's called VRRP. Okay, it's called VRRP. It's called Router Redundancy Protocol Configuration. Okay, the configuration of the basic VRRP implementation is not all that complex and resemble a lot with the Cisco proprietary, which is HSRP. Okay, so just to recap my information here, so what you need, first of all, you have to configure R1, right? You need to use a standby 1 IP address. Let me see if I can brought it up here. Remember, the hot standby routing is, this is the information that you need to know here. You need to configure as a standby 1 IP address and standby 1 priority, standby 1 preamp, okay, and standby 1 track the gigabit internet. And then after that, you need to configure R2. Okay, make sure that you put this as a standby 1 IP address. Remember, the default route is 100. So if we put this as 105, that means this one will be active, will be the active router. So now if we change this PCA default gateway from 1.2 to 1.1, if this interface fail, is automatically fail over to this. The user will not notice that if this router fail actually, because it takes only a few seconds just to kicks into there. Alright, hopefully this video is informative to you and beneficial to you. Thank you. You may watch this video again to get some good understanding about the concept. Thank you.